getting the wood ready, getting the tools set up, building a bench. So this side has a bench that's built into the ground with the legs, just like the table is. But when we moved here, there's no bench on this side. So technically only, if you squish, 3 people can sit on this side, but that's it. So the longer side of the table is missing a bench. Did they take the bench? Was there never a bench? I don't know. So we're building a bench. Let's get started. Have I ever built a bench before? I'm going to say no. So what I'm going to do is look at this bench here, get the dimensions, the build out, what's underneath, how they made this one, and build the other one. How hard could it be? All right, let's do this. All right, so I've gotten as far as the seat part. So this is the underneath, and then we have the seat actually right here, and then we have some bracers. I have no idea what they're called, but we're going to call them bracers or supports in the middle. And then I'm going to build some supports here, put the legs on, and I think I'm done. Yeah, so I'll show you a little bit more. It is dark. The chickens are in, the kitten is in, but I think I'm going to finish tonight. All right. So I finished the bench late last night. It was probably about 11:30, and it turned out it's a bench. I kind of like it. Couple of things about it that I need to fix still. I must have hit some knots or something, because this screw wouldn't go in, and then it stripped a little bit, as well as this one right here. So I just need to get my saw and cut those off. Not a problem. If you notice, like on the table and the bench on the other side are the same ways. It's kind of rounded right here, kind of softened. So I need to do that here. Otherwise it'll hurt pretty bad when you're sitting on it. And and then I ran out of screws at the very end. So I was using all the same screws, and then I got to the very end and only had a few left in my box, so I had to change screws. So I just didn't want to stop and wait and go buy some screws today and then continue. So I used some different screws. I can always replace those if need be. Now, here's the big thing. I don't know if you can tell, but those legs are correct. These legs I put on this side. There's a brace under there, right there. And I put the legs on this side of the brace. They were supposed to be on this side of the brace. So I think I'm gonna have to take it off. It's not centered, as you can tell. Structurally, it works, but if someone is sitting on this side, I don't think they could topple it over, but I would just feel more comfortable personally if I fixed it. So there's a lot of sanding that still needs to be done. Oh, and here's another big thing. It's a smidge too high. So I measured the legs based on the height I wanted them to be to reach the top of the table, but I didn't measure the legs taking into consideration that there'd be a seat on top. So it's an added couple of inches. So I need to take the legs down a little bit shorter, which is fine, because here's another issue, is the legs are perfectly even. Perfectly. But the old deck is not. So let's see if you can tell. it kind of wobbles. So what I figured I would do is when I take them down, I don't know if this will work, but when I take the legs down about 2 inches, I'll leave one on this side a little bit longer and one on that side a little bit longer, like this one a little bit longer and then that one in the back a little bit longer. And I mean, you can't really tell on the video, but the boards kind of bow on the deck, so it's just, it doesn't make for a very, even though these 2 legs are on the same board, I don't know if you can tell, but they kind of bow up a little bit, so it makes it off a tad bit. I don't know what else I could do. Maybe put down some like little bumpers at the bottom, but then I don't know if I want to go through all that. It's just a bench outside for a picnic table. The one thing I didn't do that I did do on this side here, or I didn't do it, it was done, is this brace here is very well, it was just squared and then it was cut off. I mean, I can do the same thing for this one, except for I didn't bring it all the way out. You know, I didn't bring it all the way out here. It just sticks out. I can soften it up a little bit if need be. I don't think I need to, personally. So if I sit on it, it's fine, and I get to rest my feet on that base down there at the bottom. But for other people, it's a little, I mean, it's a little high for me, a smidge. But if someone is a little bit shorter than I am, then they can't reach that base, and then their feet are hanging. So, and you're basically leaning over. So like this bench here, if you can see the distance, I'll have to measure it and see what the distance is from here, because this is fairly comfortable to sit at. And then you come across to this bench here, and you see there's not much of a gap. So it does need to come down 2 inches. I would say maybe even 3. I'll just have to measure it. But yes, it's done. Now it just needs to be sanded. The corners softened, the legs taken down, the things that are sticking out, the nails, screws, the screws that are sticking out. I was going to get there. And then if I ever get around to getting different nails, I'll replace these nails just so it looks a little bit better. I can push that one in a little bit more just so I can sand this. I put them in farther so I can sand them, just so it wouldn't catch on anything. Like that one needs to go in a few, and this one here, but the rest of them are fine. But you can see how scraggly it is on the ends, and we'll just sand it off. And I'm so excited. Now more than 2 people can sit at the table. All right, there we go. That's the bench. So this is an update on the bench. I went ahead and added another leg for support, and I made them a little bit shorter. However, I made them a smidge too short, like 2 inches too short. I know, so you can't put toothpaste back in the tube. So this is what I did to finish it off, because I did mess up on this leg here, where instead of putting it on this side of the inside support, I put it on this side of the support. So there was a large gap of space that just made it a little less secure. I mean, if it's just family sitting on it, we know, hey, you know, just kind of sit more towards the middle. But if somebody was out here and they sat on it, and it wouldn't necessarily tip over, but I just felt better putting in extra legs. So this is a 6-legged bench, which is perfectly fine. I changed out when I took the legs off, because I did have to cut the legs. I cut them and made them probably about 4 inches shorter, and I should have made them 3 inches shorter because the bench is a little too short. However, it's functional. I switched out the top screws so they all kind of match, and I kind of liked these that were poking up, because the ones over here kind of just bore in, and after a while you won't see these, and these just like had a nice little rustic kind of look to them. So I put those all on there. I like it. I'm going to go ahead and paint it the same color. It's all going to match. It's all functional. This thing weighs as much as a dinosaur. It is humongously heavy. I mean, it is just, it needs 3 people to carry it. I mean, it's heavy. It's heavy. Like, you can't lift it. So it's not going anywhere. It's pretty secure. I wouldn't say it doesn't wobble as much. And for my first bench, I think I did a pretty good job. I'm kind of proud of myself, you know? It's a 6-legged bench. It's all right. Had I put both legs at the very end, which I probably should have, and both legs at the very end, I would have probably put another 2 legs in the middle just for support. I would have done that. So then it still would have been a 6-legged bench. It's just configured a little bit differently. Not a problem. I like different. And it works. It's functional. And now we can all sit at the picnic table together.